Hey,
What's up, Chechnya?
that's one big mistake.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Enjoying my holidays.
Hmm,
How
Fantastic.
are you doing?
Um,
Everything good?
I'm always great.
Good.
Always. Okay, so yeah, tell me about the history of the Czech Republic of Czechoslovakia.
That the first one actually, or actually the second one was correct. So first things first, it's definitely not Chechnya because it's totally geographically incorrect. The third attempt, which you said was Czechoslovakia, was kind correct, but not anymore since 1993. So basically, what happened in the long, long past, we were part of,
So tell me the geographical history or the
well, the
geographical
geographical,
significance.
historical, that everything, and political, that everything kind of goes hand in hand. So,
Goes
like before the First World War, so before 1914, we were one geographically and politically, we were somewhere else. We were one big group of different states under the Habsburg monarchy.
hmm
Then it was called empire, I think, like Habsburgian, Austrian, Prussian empire. So we were like Austria, Germany, Czechoslovakia, Poland, Hungary. Like it was one really huge land. Then the First World War came, and after the First World War in 1918, we kind of broke up into uh, smaller states. And in between those two world wars, so between 1918 and 1939, I think we actually were the only ones in Europe, or at least the only ones from the empire who were democracy. We had we were called Czechoslovakia, or Federation of Czechoslovakia, and we had our first president, Thomas Garrick Masaryk, who is like a god.
Sounds like a tennis player.
Hmm?
Sounds like a tennis player.
Like the Thomas Berdych? Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Thomas is a quite usual name here. We just pronounce it Tomáš, but yeah. But for example, his second name Garrick is definitely not Czech. I have no idea from what language it is, but it's definitely not Czech. His
Okay.
sister was
So
his
Thomas.
sister was had the same name as me. His sister was Alice, but we don't pronounce it Alice. We pronounce it Aritza. So yeah,
So Thomas is as common as Muhammad.
Thomas is not as common as Muhammad. Maybe Abdullah,
That's
but
funny.
Muhammad is something
Abdullah.
like John in Czech is Jan. So I think that would be like or Jacob is also, we call it Jak. The person is called Jakub. So I think it's one of the most frequent names here. Yep.
Good. All right. Sorry about that.
No, it's
Carry on.
okay, it's okay. So I think we were really the only democracy from the empire from before the First World War. And then, unfortunately, Hitler and the Second World War came, where that was very, uh, it was hard for us, but we had a great advantage because in those days, we were one of the top 10 states in the world with when we talk about a level of industry, because all of the industry, all of the machines, all of the guns were done in what we now call Czech Republic. So the industry here was really on a great level. So we had a great advantage. And also that's why everybody wanted to have this land. Everybody wanted to have this industry. And so when
Why is that? Why did you guys have weaponry?
because the all the necessary, like, we are craft people. We are called in Europe, if you ask somebody which nation has so-called gold hands, they would say the Czechs have gold hands. We're like really like good at crafting. And it's until now, like, of course we don't do machines or guns anymore. But like the crafts are here very, really popular. And we're good at that.
Okay. Okay. How did you guys, okay, sorry, I just want to, before I forget, how did the First and the Second World War actually impact you guys? Was it different? How was it different?
Well, the First World War was really significant because it actually ignited the establishment. It ignited the like before, the official language was German here. But we had our own language. We had our own songs. We had our own anthem, and all the necessary. We felt like we are the nation, but we didn't have name. So the First World War for us was really significant because after the First World War, we actually started existing. It's like we were actually born after the First World War.
That's you and Slovakia.
Yes, because we were Czechoslovakia. After the First World War, we were Czechoslovakia. Even after the Second World War, we were still Czechoslovakia. We were still a federation. So both nations were like one country. We had our own languages, but we were taught at school both languages. So I guess I don't know how it is in South Africa, if you have like more languages at school.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with South Africa too much.
Okay.
Carry on.
Okay. Then.
Or school.
But because we were so similar and because of the long history, we called ourselves, it's like in the Arabic state, we called ourselves brothers and sisters. It was really, we were that close. So we didn't mind. And you know, in those times, even politically, it was better for us to be together because separately we were too small. Together we were at least like this, let's say the same size as Austria, at least. So the Second World War didn't have it had impact more on I think like our pride, and it kind of broke us internally, and that's why.
So the Second World War was also the Adolf, the OG.
The Hitler, the Nazis. They came. They you know, the thing is, in 1938, before the Second World War started, that's I think that was the weak point because in Munich there was like there were a head of 4 states invited. It was France, it was of course Germany, it was Great Britain and Italy. So Mussolini, Hitler, I forgot those 2, but we were not invited. And at that assembly, they decided that to prevent the Second World War, because Hitler started demanding lands, so to prevent that, they would sacrifice certain lands and add them to Germany, like give them to Hitler to basically shut him up. And part of the Czech Republic, or now called Czech Republic, was given to Germans. And we call this assembly About Us, Without Us. because we
Mhm.
were a sovereign state at that time, and still we were not invited, and still they decided about our lands, and we had to accept. We didn't have any choice.
You see that in a lot of families where they'll have a talk about have a talk about what to do with you,
Yeah,
and then they'll use whatever you
no, but
have
usually
around
it's
you.
when you're little, right? Like I would understand if we were not a sovereign state, but we were at that time, and I feel that that hurt us a lot, and that's where we like lost the pride and we lost the the courage and the enthusiasm of being sovereign because we didn't feel like it suddenly.
Yeah, yeah. You were the kids, the younger
Yeah, we
kids,
were the little kids being spanked, and now what?
and they were Ilya,
And yeah,
and Hitler was Ilya.
and the Adolf came. And we know what happened. Like, of course, as you said, history repeats itself, and it did. It did. It repeated itself. So then there was the Second World War.
So once,
Mhm.
yeah. So once Hitler got all the power,
Mhm.
so they thought that he was going to do what he wanted, and then that'll shut him up. Instead,
Yes.
that just made him even stronger to get some more
Yes.
and some more and
Yes.
some more.
Basically, he realized that whatever he says, whatever he wants, whatever he claims, he will get because the other countries were scared of Hitler. So
Mhm.
and they wanted to avoid the Second World War. And that's where we come to the parallel what's going on now in Europe, what's happening
Oh,
now in
yeah,
Europe.
yeah.
Because Russia, Putin, and Ukraine and Zelensky, basically, that's why we want to support Ukraine. Because we know what happened to us and we don't want it to happen to other nations. So,
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's why I want to find out what actually did happen back then, because I think a lot of people that don't know a lot of history are obviously bound to repeat it, but not only because they don't want. It's not like they don't want it to happen, but they don't know how it got there, and therefore they just kind of go with the sheep, and then when it's happening, then it's too late.
yeah, but
So that's why history is very yeah.
sure, but the thing what happened to us, like that's what happened in Europe or basically in the whole world. The Second World War, everybody was involved, right? That's why that's world World War. But the problem for us only, for like Czechoslovakia only, was actually after the Second World War because, of course, people were poor. There was scarcity of food and everything. So there was the, you know who communists are, right? So it's like
But you can explain it as well. Some people might not
so
know.
it's a communists are basically it's a political ideology, and they think that if everybody shares everything with everyone and nothing actually belongs to anyone and everything belongs to everyone, then everybody will be happy. Which
Yeah, that equality.
it's insane. It is insane, really.
Why is that? Why is it insane? It sounds nice, right?
It
Like
sounds nice.
if yeah, so there's 10 of us, and then all of us go to work, and then all of us make whatever we make, then we come back and we put it in the middle of the room, and then we share what we have, and we eat the same, and everyone goes back to work or carries on with life happy. That sounds great, right?
But
So why is
in
that
every
insane?
establishment, you have to have a leader. There has to be a position. There has to be a law.
Mhm.
And all these people always thought that they're better, and they always got more. So these communists, the ideology is based on like, actually, you will have nothing, we will have everything, and we will decide what's good for you.
So how do you police that, would you say? Because then someone might say, well, communism is not really then the problem. The problem is the people that are in it.
No, that's why that's why I said that we were very weak, and because of the poverty and everything, that all was the big advantage for Russia. And I mean, I said Russia because, of course, Russia was the seat of communism and socialism. So the Second World War ended in 1945, right? And in 1948, the Communist Party took over in the Czech Republic for 40 years, basically 41 years. And it was a disaster because, let's say that we were in top 10 countries in the world, talking about like economically, and because still we had the industry, and still economically we were not that bad, but because the communists came, and geographically or geopolitically we became so-called part of so-called Eastern Bloc. And that's why people in the world, or people I meet anywhere in the world where I travel, when I say I come from the Czech Republic, they say, "Oh, so you're from Eastern Europe?" And I'm like, "I'm not." So that's how people here feel. Like, I understand the people outside who don't know the history, that they feel that we are or were part of Russia, but we were never part of Russia. We never were part. I hope we'll never be part of Russia. They occupied us in 1968. Their tanks and machinery and soldiers came to our land just like the Nazis came in 1943 or 2, I think. Just like the Nazis came. Then 20 or whatever years later, I'm bad at maths, I'm sorry. They came from Russia in 1968, and basically the Russian soldiers were everywhere. Like, my grandma told me that she was walking, she lived in the village, and she was walking, like, shopping for milk, and suddenly, like, there was like a tank like passing by with soldiers aiming at everybody. And they were claiming, like, we came, exactly what they're doing to Ukraine now. Exactly what they did to what they're doing to Ukraine now. They're like, "Oh, we came to help you. We came to protect you." To help us from what?
From who?
To protect us from who? So that's exactly what's happening in Ukraine. That's exactly what happened in 1968 to us. But again, because we are much smaller than Ukraine, even although we were Czechoslovakia, we were like 2 in 1 country. We were still not, like, we were not enough. We didn't have allies like Ukraine has. We didn't have the backup support, so we didn't do anything, and we basically just waited until this somehow ends, and it ended in 1989. So that's why we are so, like, we feel for Ukrainians so much, and we help them so much. There are a lot of refugees now here, and we just see the year 1968 being repeated next door, because Ukraine is next to the Slovak Republic, right? It's on the north of the Slovak Republic. So from where I am now, right now, where I'm sitting, the war is about 300 kilometers far from me right now. Not that far.
Let's hope they don't cut off the Wi-Fi.
For now, it's more like rainy weather, what can cut us off. But yeah.
How did the war end then for you guys?
Well, we were not, as I said, we were not exactly in the war. We were basically under oppression. So in 1989, there was a lot of, like, closer to 1989, but on the 17th of November 1989, there was a massive demonstration, mostly of young people, students from universities and actors. And there were a lot of course, casualties, a lot of young dead people. And the communist regime was just came to an end because we didn't want the communist regime anymore. So basically, we kind of freed ourselves, and that's why we call it Velvet Revolution, because it was a revolution, but there was almost no bloodshed. Because normally when you say revolution, you count casualties in like thousands or 10,000s or whatever. But the saddest thing is that actually Czech people were shooting Czech people. Czech people with the ideology of like Russia being the god, were willing to like sacrifice their own people. Like this is but that's the same, like, you know, with Hitler. Like I'm sure the Nazis were shooting their friends just because their friends didn't have this or were not of the same opinion. So yeah, it's huge. It's and it's for me as European, for me, a person who was born before we were kind of like before the communist regime ended. For me, it's unbelievable that my parents lived in that. This information is like what I told you. It's not from books or from internet or from whatever. This is what my parents lived through. This is what my parents and my grandparents told me. And I see that life happening again for you know, I'm like, let's say the third generation, and I see it again. So you're thinking like, how is this possible that since 1914 we were not able to learn the most important lesson, that we have to learn from the past mistakes. It's like you walk the same street every day. You know there is a hole in the street, and you trip over every day. Like you can trip once or twice, but then you remember, oh, that's the space where I have to, like, you know, jump over, or I have to like be cautious. And still people are not. We're still falling down the rabbit hole again and again and again.
Oh, that's what happens back home in a place called East London. They just have potholes everywhere, so they just keep falling in.
Yeah, but
Um, mhm. Yeah, my East London folks won't like that. Anyway, um, all right. So that's so weird though, because it's like it's almost as if everything that's happening now in terms of movements is exactly what happened then. They just never called them movements.
yes.
You know, it's just like a bunch of people that say that they're fighting for a specific cause that they don't really understand or know, but they get sold that it's of a good nature and it's going to make everyone great. And then what ends up happening is that then they fight against the very same people that are in the group that they say that they will be in, and then it's just it just causes so much intra conflict than it does interconflict.
Mm.
And then before you're fighting the people that you think you're fighting, you're already fighting yourself and yourself within your own group. And then before you know it, it's like the people that are on the other side don't even need to fight you then. They just wait for you to kill and maim each other. And then you guys get nowhere.
Yeah. Like, you know, I remember one specific moment. I will just turn on the lights because it's getting dark here. I remember when
I thought you guys also had load shedding.
we still have light outside. It's
Uh-huh.
what time is it now here? I don't know actually.
That's actually always cool. Wait. I should actually sit right where there's no light. Ah, never mind.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry.
I was saying I should actually sit right where there's no. I can't see you now. Where are you? Can you see me?
Okay, sorry.
Where are
I'm
you?
here.
Why can't I see
I
you?
can't see you. I can't see you now. I can see some blue lights.
I can't see you.
I don't know why, because I can see myself and I can, when you turn your camera, I think you have your camera turned.
Ah, okay. Whatever then. Maybe it's my network. Who knows? Maybe they tapped into this and they thought, no.
Wow! The Russians heard us. Now they're after us.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, did you ask something?
Yeah, I can't see you. I can just hear you.
But I can see myself.
Okay, I'll invite you again. Okay, let me end this one and start another one then quickly. So we'll take it from we'll take it from the influence of that and the influence of now and where we're going. Okay.
Okay.